You are listening to
The Free Amigos.
Hey, I'm Casper.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Tony.
So here we go, guys. Episode 3 of the Free Amigos podcast. Last time we got a little bit deeper into my story, and this week we're going to speak to Tony over there in Birmingham, get a bit deeper into his experience so far. How you doing, Tony?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, mate. Yeah, good, thank you. You guys? How you doing?
All good, yeah. And we've got Casper over there in Indonesia, looking very smart in Lombok. How you doing, Casper?
All good, all great here. Still lovely out here.
Still nice and warm.
Good to see you again, guys.
Yeah,
you too.
looking forward to hearing more about Tony's story, getting deep into it. So do you want to start us off, Casper? I know you had a couple of questions.
Yeah, so as we all know, the main topic of our podcast is freedom. And when I dug a little bit deeper into your life, Tony, and watched some old recordings back of conversations, there was something that really struck me, and that is when you grew up in, you had a massive family, right? A lot of siblings there,
Yeah.
and in a small house, basically. So your quest to freedom, does that have anything to do there with the way you grew up? That must have been quite limited in personal freedom there with the way you grew up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, certainly. And yeah, spot on. It's had a massive impact on how I viewed my life, where I wanted my life to go. Just to wind it back, I'm the joint youngest of 9 siblings. I've got a twin brother. I'm the oldest of us two. We've got an older half brother, and I've got 6 older half sisters as well. Now, me and my twin brother are the only sort of full blood relatives from our parents, our mum and dad, and then the one brother, one sister from my mum's side from a previous relationship, and the other 5 girls are from my dad and his previous relationship. And they got together after their respective husband and wife had an affair and got together, and my mum and dad sort of got together as a consequence out of the fallout of it. But my dad always wanted a boy. He tried 5 times with his previous wife, got 5 girls, and then got with my mum, and obviously my mum got pregnant, and it wasn't until the day we were born that they realised they were going to have 2 of us. And back in the 70s there was no ultrasounds and whatnot, but so yeah, being the youngest as well, I had a lot of siblings. My oldest siblings, I think my sister's 16 years older than us, so there's quite a big ranging gap in my family. But yeah, I grew up in a little, I think maybe 2-3 bedroom council house, mid-terraced. We had a massive Vietnamese family on both sides of us, on the left and right, from all the same family. But I had a fantastic childhood. Shared a room with my brothers. I'd been the only 3 boys out of the 9 children, so I never really had a lot of personal space growing up. And I shared a bedroom with my twin brother up until about 15, 16. But I knew no different. That was my life. Had a great childhood. We did as much as we could with the funds we had. My dad worked away a lot just to try and finance and keep a roof over our head. My mum didn't work because it just wasn't economical it didn't make any sense to do so. So she stayed at home, looked after us all. But consequently, we didn't have a lot of money as a family, never went on holiday. I didn't go abroad until I was 17 and took myself away on my own with my friends on holiday. I always felt sometimes we was missing out as a family. That obviously my school friends, every summer they'd go away on holiday, whether it was just in this country or abroad, and we never did. We had days out here and there and go to the theme parks or go to the beach for the day or something, but never particularly as a family. We just couldn't do it. There's just too many, 11 people trying to get that. Even just a couple of caravans by the seaside in the UK is quite impractical. So as I got older and got into my teens, and I knew for one that I didn't want that life for my kids growing up, and I wanted more out of life, and I wanted it. It definitely gave me a hunger to go and explore and make a different life for myself growing up, and it definitely has given me the catalyst to drive. And let's say I didn't have a horrible child. On the contrary, I had a fabulous childhood and very fond memories of it. Christmas, birthdays, fabulous, especially as I got older. Lots of presents from lots of family members. But there was always something missing. Sense that I felt maybe missing out on stuff, and the holidays. And I love to travel. I love to explore the world. And so as I've got older, I'll be able to start work and fund my own travels. It's always been a big passion of mine to go and see as much of this world as I can. And I want that for my children, and that's a huge part of my why, and that I want to take my girls abroad as much as possible. And they've been abroad more so by the time they're 5 than I had by the time I was 25. But I love that. I love opening their eyes and showing that there's different cultures, creeds, experiences, places, people all over this world. And I think it's important part of their education, not just from an academic standpoint, which they go to school and.
Now you say that's something you. I'm not sure if we talked about this in the first podcast, but if I remember correctly, you paid for everything yourself, right? When you grew up, your driver's license and your education.
Yeah.
How was that?
So I always had this drive that if I was going to get anything, I wasn't going to rely on anyone else, because. Like I said, my parents never really had any money, and I knew that, and I never asked them for a penny. So when I was old enough, when I was 17, I think for my 17th birthday, my parents got my provisional driver's license, which meant I could learn to start to drive. But I went out, got myself a Saturday job, and I earned £25 every Saturday for about 8 hours working in a camera shop. And then each week I'd then spend £20 of that on my driving lesson for the following week, and £5. Me and my mate used to go to the local arcade and spend the £5 playing video games. But that was great. It was hugely important for me that I did this myself, and I wasn't relying on or asking. I've never liked asking people for money, and it's just to borrow money. I've always been keen to do it myself and have that drive to go out, and if I want something, I can just go out, and there's no reason why I can't do it myself. So yeah, I funded my driving lessons, paid for my driving tests, which was quite expensive back in the mid 90s. I think it might have been like £50-60. So that for me then it was like almost a month's wages.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, on my first driving test, it was my grandfather's funeral. I said, shall I cancel it? My dad said, no, go and do your tests. But my head wasn't in the right place. I failed the test, but I immediately put back into it, saved up the money again, did it the next month and passed it. And then when I went to university, I funded that myself.
Wow.
Didn't ask my parents for any money there. I took out a government loan, student loan. At the time, your fees were paid for, or percentage were paid for by the UK government.
So after that, like you say, in the beginning, when you grew up, not many family holidays. Lovely childhood though, but it was not a wealthy family and everything like that. And then so when you grow up and you go through your teens and your 20s, that you have to finance everything yourself. Well, you have to, and you wanted to. And that's one of the things I really like. And what you said, you also said, no, I like, what did you say exactly? I didn't get any financial support from from your parents, but I also didn't want it, right?
Yeah,
so
correct.
You were really steady in that. But so it must have been an amazing feeling when you got your first full-time job.
Yeah, well, totally. So did my time at university, got really good grades, really enjoyed my time there. But like every student, when they leave university, and even more so these days, you leave with a lot of debt. So I left with, I think, between £20,000 worth of debt. And I was conscious that, wow, I've got to start paying this back at some time. And in the UK, you don't have to start paying back your student debts until you earn, I think, a certain percentage of, or a threshold in your salary. So it took me probably 2-3 years after getting a job, and I got a first job as a software developer. Because I work in IT, I did information technology, computer science at university. But I started on a very, very low sort of on a graduate scheme, and it wasn't particularly well paid, but it got my foot in the door, got me some experience, practical experience, because at university is great and it teaches a lot of theory, but until you start getting your hands dirty and actually doing some practical work, your mind starts expanding, your experience starts expanding, and you start getting some real world experience. So it probably took me 2-3 years of that job until I actually started earning enough money to start paying back my loan. But I was keen to, and I could defer it each year, but I thought the longer I defer it, I'm going to be in my late 20s before I start paying this back as it is. But I think it took me, 6 years to pay it back, all my debts, my student debts, and I think it was 28, 29.
That's quick.
Was that a great tipping point there then? There must be like all the investment of all in yourself, everything, all, like we said, your first job on a Saturday, and now after all these years, you got yourself out of debt there, as in you made it.
Yeah, and it was a huge sense of achievement that I didn't ask for anyone. No one helped me pay off these debts. So it wasn't like I was given a big check from my parents. So here you go, son. That's all your debts paid off, and there's a clean slate. No, it's every month after month comes straight out of my salary for I think 6 or 7 years, and paid it back. And I was I think it was about 28, 29 maybe. By the time I finished paying them all back, and paying that last pay slip and just seeing it's like done. It's like, oh yeah, I've done it. I've achieved it. I've done university. It's like 10 years start to finish from when I started university till I finished paying off my debt. So it's almost a third of my life. But I can say I did it. I did it all off my own back. I didn't ask for any help. No one funded me or lent me any money.
That's why I say it must feel quite. You must be proud of yourself there. At least give you a feeling of I did it by myself. I went through the mud and I got out where I wanted. That sounds amazing. That sounds really strong, to be honest.
Yeah, I did. I must admit I was proud of myself because I had a lot of friends that parents had helped them out or lent them money or even paid off their debts entirely for them, and that's great if you've got family that can afford to do that. Brilliant. I didn't necessarily want to have to struggle to pay it all back, but I found a huge sense of pride and achievement that I did it. I got a full-time job within 2 weeks of finishing university, which I was really pleased about. Because I said to myself, if I didn't get a job within 3 to 6 months after initially graduating, then I'd go back to university and maybe do another course or do something else, or just stay in higher education and learn as much as I could. But thankfully I got a job. I paid my debts back, and then after I then wanted to do a little bit of travelling. So I met my then girlfriend and now my wife, and then we swapped one debt for the other and bought our first house together. And I have to say kudos to my mother and father-in-law. They lent us some money to help us with the deposit, because obviously I'd been using all my spare cash up to that point to pay back my student loan, so I didn't have anything really in savings. But they were great. They lent us some money to get on the housing market, and it's a scary time when you leave home and buy your first house and get a mortgage. It's a huge responsibility. It's like you see that 25-year on the mortgage documents, thinking, wow, I'm only in my mid-20s.
I'm a grown-up now.
Yeah, exactly. I've got responsibilities.
Yeah. Ooh. And so, but then, of course, the obvious question is, and I know a little bit about that, but many of the listeners to the podcast don't know yet, because you had a turning point, and that was about 7 or 8 months ago, a year ago, when you suddenly were looking at your life or looking at your job and it didn't go well. There was something in you struggling with your daily life there. Can you tell us some more about that and how your family responded to that?
So I've been at my present company, it'll be 14 years this year, and I've worked my way up. I've done some various jobs in there, within the IT department. I've changed roles, trying to keep it fresh every sort of few years, but I've really enjoyed the team I'm in at the moment, really good bunch of colleagues, and I've enjoyed the work, and I've gone from just normal team leader up to team leader. Then about 12 months ago, I had an opportunity then to go up to team manager. I was reluctant at first. It wasn't really what I wanted to do. I was quite happy in my team leader role and mentoring the guys under there, and keeping out the sort of the politics side of being an actual manager. That bit didn't particularly interest me. But as ever, we'd not long moved house, bigger mortgage. I thought actually the money might be quite useful at the moment, the stuff we want to do on the house. And extra money is great at any point in time in your life. So after a few rebuffals to my manager, I eventually succumbed to his demands, and well, not demands, but I succumbed. And he didn't. He was good. I've got a good relationship with my boss, but so I accepted the role and took it on. But it was just at the same time that we were going through a massive project. It involved a lot of stress and work on the team. And then come with being made manager, that brought on an extra responsibilities then from me, and I was then a bit more exposed to senior management above me and starting to become answerable for results and project milestones being met, and getting pressure from my team that they were under pressure. And we were a very small team anyway, and they were supposed to get external resources, contractors in to help on this project, because our day-to-day life was hectic anyway, and we were struggling to keep on top of that. But that all really fell on deaf ears, and that never really happened to the degree I was expecting it to. One of the reasons I took the role to become a manager was that they were going to replace me and backfill my role, so we wouldn't be left without extra numbers. But after 3 or 4 months, that position that got taken away, and I found out that wasn't going to happen. So I had to continue doing my old role as well as my new role, and support this new project that was going on as well. And that eventually led into, I do a lot of unsociable hours anyway as part of my job. It's just comes with the territory. We do a lot of out of hours, weekend works, maintenance work, financial services systems, that banks, and we have to do stuff when they're not open. Just keeps the risk down if there's any issues and whatnot. But it was getting to the fact that we were working evenings, weekends, long days in the office, coming home. I was getting tired, I was getting stressed, getting calls out all the time. And it wasn't just the odd occasion, it was pretty much most days, most weekends, weekend after weekend after weekend.
And so back in the days, you kind of like, especially when we talk about it like this, the moment when you get that job, you can now finally pay off everything you've been working for. It sounds like a really organic growth that you had there. Right, like it sounds like, yeah, A, B, C, D, and it all feels good and all. But so when you're working over the weekends, and you got 2 young daughters, you got a lovely wife, you got a house and a mortgage. What was the response there then?
Yeah, well,
how do you feel about that as well?
Well, initially they appreciate my job comes with unsociable working hours occasionally. But when it was getting to be most evenings, I was getting back late. Sometimes they'd be in bed, or my girls, my 2 young daughters, are sort of 5 and 9. So this time last year, they were 4 and 8, and they'd all be in bed asleep, and I'd come home and I'd be tired, I'd be grumpy. I'd maybe just grab a quick bite to it, and then I wasn't really talking to my wife particularly, because I had work on my mind constantly. Then it comes to the weekends and the girls want to see their dad, and I want to see my girls and maybe go out and have some fun. But then, sorry, Daddy can't. I've got to join this call now for the next 3 hours. I've got to sit in my office and got to work most of Saturday afternoon and again Sunday morning, or all over Saturday night, and then I'm going to be in bed all day Sunday because I've worked all night. And again, the odd occasion, it's fine, they accept it. But when it was weekend after weekend and night after night, and they just weren't seeing me. At one point, my daughter came in when I was working one Saturday afternoon, and she goes, "Daddy, you're always working. You're always on that laptop. We never see you anymore." And I remember quite vividly, and it hadn't really dawned on me that was the situation, because I was so in the eye of the storm with all the work and being how busy I was, that the fact that my family life was starting to get neglected. And I'd heard it from a couple of colleagues that worked, and they were having similar situations with them because we were all quite busy. And it wasn't like your 5-year-old comes in and says, "Look, Daddy, you're never here. You're just never with us." And then
that hurts.
Yeah, it does. I love that with them. They're never going to lie. They're always going to tell you the truth. And I probably just didn't realise it. But I said, look, Daddy has to work. Unfortunately, hopefully this won't be forever, and I'll try and get off as soon as I can. Daddy doesn't want to have to do all these hours, especially not at the weekends and whatnot. And she sort of understood, I think, to a degree, but not really. What can a 5-year-old understand that Daddy's always sat on his lap? Excuse me. But this carried on for a few more months, and it got to the point when I was coming home, I was seeing him. I was so stressed about work and tired, and taking my frustrations and my stress out on my daughters and my wife, and shouting at them, and just not being a particularly pleasant person to be around when I wasn't working and I was at home. And that's not me. If anyone knows me, I'm quite a laid-back, relaxed person ordinarily. So my personality was changing, and not in a good way. And I probably wasn't acknowledging that enough, that I had an issue. And after sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 months, my wife I come home the one day. I remember quite vividly back in end of August last year, and I was the last person to leave the office. I think it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock at night on a Friday night. I'd had issues all day long. My boss was on holiday, so I was having to cover his stuff as well. And I just sat there at my desk and cried. I thought, I can't keep doing this. It's just, I just can't get it. It was just overwhelming me, the whole situation. I just felt like a black cloud was permanently over my head, and I came home, I cried, and I explained it to my wife, and she goes, look, if you don't do something about this now, and she'd been saying to me a while that I need to speak to the doctor. She said, look, if you don't do it on Monday, then I'll do it for you. And we did, and I called up, and I think the following Tuesday I had the day off work anyway. I booked because it was school holidays at the time, and I want to try and book some time off to spend with my daughters anyway, because I've been so busy and not seeing them that much. And that doctor's appointment was that massive wake-up moment for me. I sat there and spoke to the doctor about all my stress and my burnout and my situation. He sat there, listened to everyone, didn't judge me, didn't know me. And the huge sense of relief and pressure off my shoulders at the time, that I'd actually just sat and spoke to someone about it, because I hadn't really, I'd just been bottling up for months and months, and it just got to that point where I just couldn't take any more. I just had to release the pressure. And just the act of talking about it to someone was the first step for me, and I realised then I couldn't go back to how I was working anymore. The doctor signed me off, I think, for a month, and it was huge for me. I then spent the last few weeks of the summer holidays every day with my girls. We're going out walking in nature, getting some fresh air, and it just felt like I was floating. It was amazing. It was just the instant release of pressure on me was fantastic. And my boss was great. He was good, and he supported me all the way. But it's what I need. I just couldn't carry on as I was, because something was going to make myself sick, or my wife and kids were probably going to leave me at some point.
So then you had this idea that to change your ways and to start a new kind of business, or what was your plan there? What happened?
Yeah, so I love technology. I love the online space. I love what the internet can bring to you. So and I've always wanted some online real estate myself. Always wanted to have my own website. Just never known particularly had what to do a website about, whether it's just a blog or whatnot. But so I thought I'd combine the two, and I've come up, after much deliberation, I came up with the name Digital Freedom for All, because that's what my brand's about, that's what my website's about, that's what my business is about, is to give anyone the opportunity to create a freedom and flexibility in their life and around their family, and take them away from the traditional 9-to-5 way of working and trading time for money. All centered around having a digital online presence, creating their own website. And that's something I'd never done until a few months ago. I knew vaguely how to do it, but I'd never actually physically done it. So create my own website, my own social channels, doing all that from the training, and now I'm able to build websites myself, and I want to describe on there and do other technology blogs, talk about products I enjoy and do, and just I wanted to demonstrate to people that anyone can have freedom in this digital economy, and anyone can do what they want to do online. Whether you're 18 or 80, it doesn't really matter. There's tools and out there that can help you do this. Even if you don't want to do it yourself, you can get people online to do it for you. That's all part of how digital freedom can work for anyone, and I truly believe that. This is not an exclusive club where you have to have technical skills, have to have a degree in computer science. Nonsense. You don't have to have any of these things. There's tools and trips. A lot of them you don't even have to pay for. Like I said, Canva. You can create an image within sort of 5-10 minutes. Put it on your website. Upload some photographs. Embed a video from YouTube. I've never done any of this before, but if I can do that, anyone can. Honestly, it's not the way of the world and the original web was sort of 15-20 years ago, where you had to be a specialist website builder and so on and so forth. You don't have that. You've got open source tools, knowledge. You can even go on YouTube and say how to create a WordPress website. It's not difficult, and I truly believe that there is freedom and flexibility available to all if they look, work and want it enough, and jump on board. Everything's online these days, guys. The internet is free, it's open, it's available to anyone. It's just yours there. You just need to get online, take your slice of the pie and have your own digital freedom. So that's why my brand is called that. I want to help other people get online, get on board, create their own websites, create their own online business around whatever they want. It doesn't really matter. Do what you enjoy doing. Add value in what you're doing, whatever your niche is. And as we all know, money will come as a byproduct of the value that you bring to other people. And that's all what you need to do. Do what you love. Do it to your best of your ability. Offer value, and the rest will come. Don't worry about that.
Fully agree. Mark?
Yes, I've been just listening in there. It's great to hear, especially that kind of, what I call it is the dark night. That's what they refer to it in shamanistic circles, where you have this complete breakdown, I suppose, and you need it. And this is the thing about this about this period. And generally, most people have them at some point in their lives, but extremely traumatic and dark period where your old methods of living, you realise that they're not working anymore, and they collapse. And out of that comes this new you, this new evolved version of yourself. And I actually think it's one of the most important aspects of life. And it was great to hear your side of that story. What interests me is this, you've done things a bit differently, this journey, becoming an entrepreneur, which we're all on, and a lot of the guys we know are on. But you've done something that I don't see many other people doing, is which you've brought together a community within this community together, and you've done it in an amazing way. And that while a lot of people were focusing on their own business and their own training, you were focusing on helping others that were just behind you, and now you've built this whole community together yourself. So where do you think that comes from? Because it's quite unique, I think, in that this kind of focus on others rather than yourself. And in some points, it's slowed down your journey a little bit, hasn't it? Because you've been so focused on others and helping.
I've always enjoyed helping other people. It's just ingrained with me. I get a lot of sense of satisfaction from helping others and seeing people progress. And you just when you show someone who's struggling with something, whatever that is, and you can just see it in their eyes, have that light bulb moment when you just explain it to them, and they've that's how you do it. Okay, thank you, Tony. It's just, you can't put a value on that. And one thing I'd learned from this is I took myself out of my comfort zone a little bit when I first joined the SFM. Because obviously I didn't know anyone. Didn't join with anyone, didn't know anyone in the community. Tried to speak to many people as I could, make connections. Just because I felt that this would be a lot easier if you was able to make connections and have people along in a similar stage as you, and that you can bounce ideas off. And I've always enjoyed collaborating with people, joining being in groups. Excuse me. because I was completely new to this. I never created a business before. I never created a website before. Never done any type of marketing before. So I thought if I could make connections with as many people as I could, leverage their experience, leverage their help, and in return, if I can anything I can offer to them, in return and help them, fantastic. But when I got on to do the 90-day video journey, which is when I first come across you, Mark, I think you were the first video I'd ever watched in that group. And connected with you.
Yeah, you were the only people sort of commenting on my videos at the time. That was nice. Kept me going.
And it was you and Linnea said, "What's stopping you starting your journey now?" Because I hadn't planned on starting it straight away, but I did. I'm glad I did. But I just thought it was really nice looking at other people's videos, see what they're doing, their experience, getting to know other people, and then I had the idea of back at Christmas time about creating our own group, accountability and support group, which I'll post to you. I think it was just going to be me and you initially. That's all my initial thought was.
I just wanted to meet you.
Yeah, well, I say Mark was was the real sort of closest connection, one of the first closest connections I had with the SFM.
Yeah,
it's been wonderful. And I think Mark wasn't part of an accountability group at the time. I thought we had a lot of chats, conversed on each other's videos a lot, and helped one and supported one another. I thought, oh, okay, let's get together and do that. And we spoke to a few other people that we'd sort of connected with you on the 90-day video journey, because obviously we're all going posting the videos in and around time. So you got your own sort of timeline of people that you start connecting with within the group. And before you knew it, it got sort of 3, 4, 5 people, then 10 people and 20 people. We're up to about, I think, 50 people now. But it's been fantastic, and just to help people in issues, when they've got issues or problems they're stuck around with, and if I can help someone do that, if I can jump on a quick call or send them a text or just help them anyway, I'm always willing and able. If I'm willing and I'm able to do that, I will do. Even that's the detriment of my own progress. I've got no problem with that, because it helps me with that learn, do, teach, because that really resonated with me when I hear that phrase. One of the things that leaders do is learn, do, teach, because it's something I do in my job as a team leader, as a manager. I have people who work and report to me and ask me for advice, and I have to train them and onboard them. So it's something I'm quite comfortable in doing. I'm happy to do. I enjoy doing. It's one of the aspects of my day job that I really enjoy. Is how will people move on with their own levels of experience, technical or otherwise. And I'm always there to offer a shoulder or an ear to listen to anyone. I quite enjoy listening to people, and I'm not necessarily the biggest talker in the world or the biggest extrovert here. So going for the 90-day video journey and putting myself out there and trying to make connections is something doesn't necessarily come naturally to me. It's not something I'm particularly comfortable with, even if that was in a real world aspect. I'd be the person who quite happily sit at the back of the room, not at the front of the room. So it's brought a lot of growth out to me, and this is all part, I want to say, the reasons why I joined the SFM is to improve my personal development, my self-growth, and change who I am and for the better, and improving all aspects of my life. So yeah, it's been a fabulous, great, the 90-day video journey. For people who know what that is within the SFM community, has been one of the best things I've done in years, and it's brought me so many great friends. It's enabled to meet you guys. It's enabled me to start doing this podcast. So I will be eternally grateful, even for just those aspects of my life. And we've met some wonderful people. There's some great people in the SFM community, really on point, like-minded people that just get it. They know what they do. They're kind-hearted. They're genuine, and I think that's fantastic. And I'll be if I never earned a penny out of my business, I've gained a lot more than just finance and profits. It's been far more for that for me.
Yeah, that's an important. I don't know how many people recognise it this early on. Do you know what I mean? I think the journey of becoming an entrepreneur is very much financially orientated, isn't it? At first, but yeah. I've heard a few people say it on the journey as well, that it becomes much more about the growth. That's the real value of the journey of becoming an entrepreneur, is the growth as a person rather than making all this money and quitting your job, it doesn't take long. You look 3 months down from where you were 3 months ago, and you're a completely different person,
Oh, God, yeah. Totally different. I couldn't compare myself I am today to 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. Totally different. I've gone from a personal life. We've had passed my father-in-law way just before Christmas, so it's been a difficult time. But I'm not the same person I am today than I was 6 months ago. My drive has gone up tenfold. Eager to learn. I've always enjoyed learning things, but having it with a goal in mind. With my own business now and sharing that digital freedom for all message that I want to get across to people and to many people as I can and help change other people's life. Like I said, it is a business, and business are here to help other people and make money, but if I never made a penny out of this and it all stopped tomorrow, I would take away so much more than the financial aspects of this. I've made an investment in myself, in my growth, and also hopefully my family's future. At the one point that I will have the freedom and flexibility that I so desire and my family desires, that will take me out of that 9 to 5, and I won't be working until I'm sort of 65, 70, sat behind a desk and not particularly doing something like that's fulfilling to me anymore, or it's just a paycheck at the end of the day. I want more out of life than that. I want to spend. I've reached since being in my 40s. I've realised I'm at half time now, and I'm in the second half of my life, and I want to make it the best second half of my life. I want to go out a champion and win.
We talked a little about that in the last pod, isn't it? And it's a kind of a useful exercise that I often use. Is like, if you just project ahead to the end of your life and imagine if you carried on doing exactly what you're doing now. Because I think a lot of people, something I hear Sadhguru talk about, is they're not fully aware that they're mortal, that this is going to end one day, and what do you want to have, what do you want your life to stand for? For so many people, I kind of speak to people now and I say, they're kind of, how's your job? Oh, it's okay. And then you get them talking on a particular subject like photography, or speaking to someone the other day passionate about aromatherapy, and they get really passionate, excited when they talk about it. Another guy was talking about the environment. How's your job? Oh, it's okay. Shine. It's okay. Yeah. And it's
usual platitudes.
I know, but then I talk about, well, do you know what? You could start a business around that, and it's like, well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I could do it. I'm not sure if I've got the time, but there's all these blocks, there's all these excuses. But I think if you bear in mind the fact that...
limited beliefs.
And I don't think people think about this enough. This is going to end one day, guys. Like, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to take a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta happen.
It's got to, but there's one of the things that I think about, getting to the end and thinking, oh, did I really give that everything? And at some point, I think, especially when you get to the middle of your life, you start thinking about, okay, time to wake up, time to make the most of this life. This is not going to go on forever. Like when you're in your 20s, you just have this feeling like, you're not aware of these things, are you?
No.
It's really hot.
Okay.
Hey, look, we've got someone on the podcast. We've got
my
secret
daughter.
guest on the podcast there. Hello.
Say hello,
Who are
Lydia.
you?
Hello.
This is Lydia, my eldest daughter.
It's Lydia. Hello, Lydia. How are you doing?
Look up there. How
I'm
are you
here.
doing?
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Hey, Lydia.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? Good. Here. Good
You
to
doing good?
hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're all right.
Just come here.
All right, love you lots. All right, thank you.
Talk to you soon, Lydia.
Should Casper talk to you soon, he said.
That's the wrong side. That's the right side.
All right, thank you, baby girl. Have you a coaster?
Did you a coaster? Wow, look at that.
Made me a coaster.
That's awesome. It's
You
psychedelic.
should stop drinking so much beer, mate.
I know, I love my
When your
beer.
daughter starts making you coasters, that's a sign.
Exactly. I've got 3 of them here now.
That's a lovely. I love that. So we can have this is what I love. Seriously, this is what I love. And we talked about this a little bit earlier because we were recording. It's really difficult. I'm in the middle of the night here. You have your kids, and Mark said like, "Oh, my daughter might walk in," and I said, "Yeah, but that's what we do." I mean, when your daughter walks in to give you a coaster, that is our podcast.
Yeah. That's real life there, guys.
Yeah, I love it.
Beautiful, yeah.
Absolutely amazing. But Mark, continue.
Yeah, I've just finished it. It's that, and one of the bits I loved about the first pod was when you were talking about life with no regrets. And that's huge for me, because I don't think enough people project forward to the end of their life and think, what do I want this life to stand for? You know, do I want to just have gone through life in the safety zone, in the slow lane, just because so many people do that. They've got a job. It's okay.
Too easy.
It's okay, but it's only when things completely fall apart that you make the move. Otherwise, you spend your whole life in the comfort zone, you know, and you will regret it.
Yeah. I said to my wife a few months ago, that day I went off stress and went to my doctor's. It was horrible at the time. It was my dark moment. It was what do you call that? Dark night.
Dark
you
night,
said, Mark.
Yeah.
That was my dark night. But ever since then, it's been full of light, sunshine, brilliant white energy and white light for me, because it's probably been the best thing that could have happened to me. It's made me reevaluate my life, where I'm going, and my family's life, and just take me out of that mediocre sort of middle lane on the highway of life. Just cruising, not taking any chances, not taking any risks, and I, like I said, we've said on the previous pod, I don't want to sit back in 30, 40 years from now on my deathbed saying, I wish I'd given that a go. I wish I'd taken the opportunity. I wish I'd given it a chance. Because I'd rather give this a go, give it my all, try my best. And if it doesn't work out, I'm happy with that. I can live with that. I just can't live with never saying I'd given it a go and having that regret that I hadn't done something. Because like you, Mark, at some point in my life, I've had a burning desire for many years to go and live abroad somewhere and live and work abroad. I looked at it seriously a few years ago and go and move to the States or move to Australia, getting a green card to the States. But then my wife fell pregnant and then it sort of all went out the window. But that's something I still would love to do, and I am going to do it at some point in my life, is go and live abroad somewhere, try out a different way of life and living, a different culture. I finally this year trying to, after many failed attempts, because my heart wasn't particularly in it, or didn't have the discipline for it, is actually learning Spanish. So I've been doing that every day this year, and that's been amazing, because one of the facts is because my daughters do it at school, and I've been saying to them, you need to learn a second language, opportunities at school, you're doing to do it, and they love it. But what's the point of me saying that to them if I'm not willing to do it myself? So I backed up my words finally, and I've knuckled down, and I'm on Duolingo every day doing my Spanish. I do it with my girls as well, and it's good fun. But I hope at some point maybe go and live in Spain or some other Spanish-speaking country, and not somewhere necessarily speaks English as a native language, and take myself out of that comfort zone, because that's how we grow, that's how we develop, that's how we get ourselves out of the mediocrity of life that 95% of people live in. And they just cruise through, just meandering through life, and then okay, it's over, done.
And there's no excuse now, you know what I mean? Like
no, there's not.
I remember my granddad said to me when he's come to the end of his life, he didn't feel like he'd, you know, it's sad, but he felt like he didn't get the most out of life. But in his time, there wasn't the opportunity. You know, he lived through a war, and then, you know, all these recessions and restrictions.
Really meant else then.
Yeah, and he said his youth was over before he knew it. But if you're in sort of midlife or in early life now, you've got so many opportunities. I mean, it's for travel, whatever it is, for creating your own business. There's all these teachings that come over from the East if you want to get into meditation or whatever it is. It's the whole world. I know it's a unique period of going through at the moment, but the whole world is open to you. You can do anything. It's just about educating yourself in the right way and stepping out of that comfort zone, isn't it? Make yourself uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Agree, fully agree.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you will grow and you will benefit from them without measure. You really got to do it, guys.
So one of the things I've sort of found useful, and a few of the other guys we know are doing this as well, is to get deeper into the reasons why you do this, why you're on this journey. And it's a simple ask really, in that you start off with the fact that you're creating your own business, and then you just ask why. And when I did it, I found that when I got 3 layers deep, it got interesting. When you go beyond that, it gets really interesting, and that's where you can kind of, I think that's the point where you can really structure your business around, and you find out how you can help others in the same position. But
okay,
if we were to start off, get on with this. Might get a bit sticky after a few rounds, but okay. So essentially, you're creating your own digital business.
Grace wanted to see the basement.
Okay, I've just got to just take it. Right, because I've got to be quick, guys. So I've got. All right.
There's just one to see.
Right,
Okay,
go on then. Right, thank you, girls. Can you close the door, please?
Have you got another coaster there, Tony? You know I'm not going to cut this out. You know I'm going to leave this in. The girls just came in with another coaster.
No, it's the same one. Gracie just wanted to see what it looked like.
Okay. Coaster episode, we'll call this. Coasting through life, we'll call this episode.
Roller coaster.
Roller coaster of life, we'll call this. If we go back, right, this is a question of why you're on this journey. So if we start off, essentially you're creating your own digital business around your passions. So why?
Yeah. Because I want more freedom, flexibility to travel, especially outside with the school holidays with my children, my wife and children. I want to be able to just pack our bags and spend 6 weeks of the summer holidays abroad or wherever and still be able to work.
Why?
Why? Because I'm fed up of being able to juggle childcare in the holidays, only be able to have like 2 weeks off because someone else already got those 2 weeks off in the summer holidays, and you have it's like 6-7 weeks, and you have the first 2 weeks off, and I've got to go back to work for the other 4. I want to have the whole 6 weeks off, whether it's Christmas or wherever. I want to be able to do it on my terms and make my own schedule.
Why?
Why? I'm trying to think about repeating the same thing. Because I feel like why not?
That's it. 3 layers, it gets tough.
Yeah, it's just I don't see why I should have to. In this day and age, I've got enough drive, motivation, and will to make an online business, and the internet's worldwide. That's the whole point of it. I should be able to work wherever I want, remotely, wherever, doing what. And I want to do something around what I really enjoy doing that gets me up and motivated every morning. And if I say I didn't want to work for 6 weeks over the summer holidays, I want that option as well. If I just want to say, right, no laptop, I want my business still to run in the background, I want that option.
Why?
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, that definitely needed a 4.
This is getting uncomfortable.
And it's going to go to 5.
It is uncomfortable.
This is going for 5
It
rounds.
is uncomfortable, and it made me uncomfortable. But this is good because it gets you like to the core.
Your third answer
Yeah.
was not satisfying. To be honest, it was not satisfying. Come on,
Why?
4. Hit it.
Why? Because. Why? What was my last answer? I don't remember what it was now.
Why do you want this freedom? Why do you want this life freedom?
Because I want to be able to live and work wherever I want, doing the hours where I want to choose.
Same
doing
answer.
I know. But it is. It's the truth. It's.
You're on a loop.
I don't know what else I can say. I want to be able to. Okay. I want my earning potential not to be twinned with the amount of time I spend working. I should be able to leverage and work smarter and not necessarily harder. And knowing what I want, when I want, how I want to. I'm just fed up of working for other people.
Okay, so what we can see here is you filled the 5 whys.
Failed, sorry.
No problem. Sorry, no. Failed, I don't mean failed, but you went into the same repetition there. As in a top of mind recognition of the 5 whys.
I was going to say that, yeah.
A top of mind going like, yeah, because I want to have freedom. Yeah, because I want to, no, not the structural why within.
Yeah. It usually comes down to wanting to feel a certain way. You know, that's where it goes essentially. And mine went deeper than that. Mine was like, what do I want out of the end of life, next life?
I never want to feel like I did last year in that dark night moment where I was being put on by other people and stress and overwhelming responsibilities and pressure and just having to answer to someone else. And feeling that overwhelming sense of burnout and stress, sadness and darkness. I never, as much as I said before that it was the moment I only needed it once, and I never need to feel that again, ever. Because I wasn't happy with who I was then, and I never want to go through that again.
Why? Can we go one more layer?
Go on then. Why?
You're pushing it now there, Mark.
Because
I know where I go next, but I wonder if Tony's going to go there. But
well, it affected my mental health quite badly, and I never thought that, being the quite relaxed guy I am naturally, I never thought it would ever happen to me. I never thought I'd be that person that's affected by mental health, by stress, by burnout, by anxiety. It's always been the thought, that happens to other people, not me. And the fact when it did happen to me, it really woke me up, and I never want that to happen again. I never want to put the effects of what I went through then onto my family again, because I just wasn't a nice person. It wasn't a nice experience for them. I love my family. I want to be there for them, be the nicest and best father and husband I can to them. And I want to inspire them, not have them hate me because I'm just being horrible to them.
Okay, that's as deep as we'll go today. It's an interesting exercise, though, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I reckon you can go deeper, even deeper than that. But yeah, thank you, Tony. That's awesome. Like, we've obviously connected early on this journey, and even though we haven't met physically, we've done a lot of these podcasts and webinars, and got to know you quite well through this. And I already consider you a good mate. And I know we'll sort of be on this journey together for a long time, I hope, and Casper as well.
Yep.
It's been amazing how far we've come in this short period, and the way you've kind of brought this community together is incredible, really. I think it's a testament to you.
Thank you.
But awesome, thanks guys. Really enjoyed today's pod, and next time up, the man himself, Casper, over there in Indonesia. And this will be an interesting one. This will be an interesting one. Yeah. This is going to be difficult to cram into an hour, this one, because Casper's got a lot of stories. But we shall do our best.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We see you guys next week,
awesome.
Right?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, next week, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
You have been listening to
Free Amigos.
Hey there, hope you've really enjoyed listening or watching to the conversation today. And as promised, we have all the links to the topics discussed in the description below and also on our website.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to hit that subscribe button or follow the link to our brand new website where you can sign up to our weekly newsletter.
Thank you for watching or listening. We hope you got something good out of it. If you've got any interesting topics you'd like us to discuss or any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And that's it. See you in the next pod. Adios.
Cheers.